Minecraft just released the newest update, Chase the Skies. This introduces new fun features like the Rideable Happy Ghast, the adorable Ghastlings, and even the dried ghast. They also added an insane new music disc and some wild leash update changes that allow you to tie mobs together, tie boats together for trains, and do all kinds of shenanigans with the Happy Ghast. It also adds the player locator bar and totally redefines how Minecraft looks with the vibrant visuals update. This adds vanilla shaders to almost all devices, including consoles and mobile. We have a lot of new features to talk about, so let's hop into it. Starting with some vibrant visuals info you should know. Right now, it is only available on Bedrock Edition and should work on all platforms except for some lower-end mobile devices and the Switch One, but Mojang is working on bringing it to Java Edition. Vibrant Visuals is a complete graphics overhaul to Minecraft, complete with amazing pixely shadows, light rays from the sun and moon, glowing mob textures, beautiful sunrises and sunsets, and various biomes also have amazing custom fog, like the Pale Garden, Mushroom Island, and the swamps even. The end also got some love with neat end-based weather, which is crazy. I'll be releasing a complete breakdown video for the Vibrant Visuals very soon. Subscribe so you don't miss it, but let's hop into the other features of the Chase the Skies update. Starting off with the player locator bar, this is primarily a multiplayer feature that helps you locate and find your friends in your Minecraft world. So to turn this on, you simply go into your world settings. It is under multiplayer and it's down here at the bottom. You can turn this on or off. It's just a vanilla toggle. It doesn't affect achievements or anything like that. Now, even if you haven't turned on, if there's no one else in your Minecraft world, as you can see, your XP bar is still gonna be right there. Now, I don't have any friends, so I'm gonna show you some stock image of what this stuff actually looks like. But basically, it's going to replace the experience bar, and it looks similar to this. So whenever you have a player near you or even quite far away, there's going to be a little dot on your hotbar that is going to change based on where that player is relative to you. So if you turn to the right, that dot is going to slide over to the left of the bar. Now the dots are color coded, so everyone has their own color. That way you can keep track of who is who. And the dots also get larger and smaller depending on how far away they are from you. The icon can also change to have a little up or down arrow. This just tells you if they're above or below you. That way you can hunt them down and find them. And yes, that is a threat. Now, if you don't want to be visible on the locator bar, or if you want to hide away from people like a little hermit, if you want to sneak up on people and disappear from that locator bar, you can simply wear any number of the mob heads in the game. So like if you're wearing a skull, you will disappear from the locator bar and you'll be able to sneak up on people and they will have no idea where you're at. Now, this works for all of the mob heads in the game if you can get your hands on them. It also applies to the carved pumpkin as well. And if you are crouching, you also will not show up on the locator bar, so that's a really easy one. Or you can simply drink an invisibility potion. Any number of these things will take you off the bar. That way you can have some fun shenanigans sneaking up on people. It's actually a really nice touch that they made the mob heads have another use. It's about time. These things have been ignored for far too long. Ultimately, it's a pretty basic feature, but it will help you keep track of and find your friends in your Minecraft world, which is always a good thing. That way they can never escape. Now, when the player locator bar is turned on and visible, you'll still be able to see how many levels you have, and when you pick up experience or use the anvil, then your experience bar will also be shown for a couple of seconds as well. There's 3 new features in the nether in this update, so if you go over and you find yourself a soul sand valley that is in new chunks, and you look around these skeletons, you have a pretty decent chance of finding one of these guys, the dried ghast. Now you can actually mine these guys in survival just by punching them. You can one-tap them, and I'm about to get one-tapped as well. Dang, not a safe biome. There's actually 3 different ways to get the dried ghast. Of course, you can find it in the Soul Sand Valley biome, or you can simply trade to some piglins for it. So if you give these guys a whole bunch of gold, you have a kind of low chance to get the dried ghast, but it's not like super rare. As you can see, we just got a dried ghast right there. That actually took about a stack of gold or so, but it is technically renewable and it is technically farmable. So the dried ghast is also just straight up craftable. So if you decide to farm their parents, you can simply get yourself a bunch of ghast tears. It takes 8 ghast tears around the outside edges and then 1 soul sand in the middle, and bam! Then you can make as many dried ghast as you want to. Now, the dried ghast is actually a building block, and it actually has some ambient noises as well, but it only makes those ambient noises when it's on top of soul sand or soul soil. And it pretty much makes noises essentially non-stop when it's on top of those blocks. Now, if you waterlog this, it also makes noises too, but that is for later. We'll get into the actual uses for this guy in a minute. But look how adorable he is. You can decorate with this guy all over your base. It's not creepy. He's cute. Now, there's one other feature in the nether that you should know about, and that is if you return a fireball back to a ghast, a return to sender, like that right... hold up. Like this right here. Boom, the guy is gonna die, and that is how you can actually get the newest music disc, which is called the Tears music disc by Amos Roddy. This music disc is actually really, really good, and if you want to listen to the full thing, I'll have a video linked down below by Zoe. It's crazy, go watch it. Now, you're gonna need the dry ghast in order to get the ghastling and the happy ghast and actually ride the ghast as well. So once you have one of these guys, you need to waterlog him for 20 minutes. That's right, it takes an entire Minecraft day to actually grow up. Now, as you can see, it's going to get some of these little particles. It's going to make some ambient noises as well. And you're slowly going to see that frown turn upside down as this guy hatches. So if you let this guy hydrate for like 10 minutes, for example, and then take the water away, he is slowly going to dehydrate over the next 10 minutes until he gets back to this default state. So it's going to slowly dry out over time unless you actually keep him waterlogged for the full 20 minutes. So unfortunately, you can't get the one that has like the little smiley face on it for decoration. It doesn't stick around permanently. This guy also makes some wild ambient sounds. So once you've waited the 20 minutes, you're going to have the happy ghastling spawn in. Now, this guy is absolutely adorable in every conceivable way. He makes all of the cutest sounds. So this guy is going to naturally roam around the point where he was hatched, so he'll just kind of fly around. He's going to stick pretty close to the ground, but like he can go up a little bit. Now, some important things that you should know about this is that to actually lure them to you, you can simply hold a snowball. That is how you like get them to come to you. And then if you click on them with a snowball, that's also going to speed up their growth. There is no way to keep them a tiny baby happy ghast. That's something that Minecraft really needs to add. The ability to keep baby mobs babies, because they are so cute. And yeah, look at this guy. He's just adorable. Now, this guy can get into boats. He is small enough, and he can also get into minecarts as well. But good luck with that, because he's a flying mob. So, you know what? In order to bypass that, we're simply going to use a lead. Because that's right, you can use a lead on him. He doesn't really get dragged that well. That might actually be a bug. Last time I did this, they definitely got dragged a little bit better. Dang, it's a heavy baby. So as you can see, the baby ghast can get into minecarts and into boats. However, when they grow up, it's gonna pop out of the boat because for some reason, large mobs can get into minecarts, but not into boats. Make it make sense. You won't because it doesn't. They will stay in minecarts, so you can do some really fun stuff with that, actually. So the ghastlings are going to idle around their little home location within about 32 blocks, unless there is a player or another adult non-aquatic neutral mob within 16 blocks of them, in which case they will follow that mob. So there's a chance that they can follow you or another mob outside of the area that they were hatched in. So overall, he's not going to go too far from your base location. Unless, of course, he's following you, like this guy is. Hey, how you doing, buddy? So let's actually grow this guy up. As you can see, if we just spam this guy with a bunch of snowballs, it only takes a few, and then boom, we got ourselves a happy ghast. Now, this guy is also going to roam around the area as well. So the happy ghast is generally going to roam around the area where it was grown up or where it was hatched. That is considered its home location. So you're not going to see this guy fly off like 100,000 blocks away. He's generally just going to like kind of chill out right here. So if you hatch a bunch of these guys right around your base area, well then congratulations. You can have just like a bunch of them floating around. It's great. Now, they do kind of fly pretty far up, and they don't have that high of a detection range for the snowballs, but if you hold a snowball and get kind of close to him, as you can see, he's going to come down to the ground or come to wherever you're at. And then, of course, you can throw a snowball in his face, and for some reason that hurts them, even though I'm just giving him a snack. Okay, look at that. That's adorable right there, though. So the full-sized happy ghast isn't really that useful on his own, but you can actually ride him if you make a harness. So the harnesses are really cheap. They are 3 leather, 2 glass, and a piece of wool, and that'll give you one of these harnesses. Now you can actually re-dye these things as well to have all 16 different colors. And as you can see, there is a ton of these things. These are non-stackable, just like a regular saddle. Hey, so speaking of saddles, they're actually craftable right now. As you can see, it is 3 leather and 1 piece of iron, and bam, now you can make, oh, so many of these. So actually riding this guy is pretty simple. You want to lure them down with your snowballs and wait for them to come down to the ground. As you see, he's kind of far away. Come on down, buddy. This part might be the most genuinely difficult part of the entire Happy Ghast because they just don't come to you. Once you have them in place, then you need to jump and kind of click on them with the saddle, and then they're actually going to roam a lot closer to the ground, and they're actually going to stay a lot closer to their home point. That way you can get close to them, and again, you can still lure them in with those snowballs. Now, you can also put a lead on these guys as well and just drag them around with you, which I would highly recommend. And you can also click on them with shears as well to get rid of that harness. So if we bring this guy back down here and click on him, as you can see, that gets rid of the entire harness. So if these guys aren't wearing a harness, the roaming range is 64 blocks, but if they are wearing a harness, then it's only 32 blocks. Now, these guys are very large, and they like to move around, so, you know, sometimes it might be a little bit of a pain to actually get them where you want them. So let's assume that you managed to get yourself a harness on this guy by going up a little hill and then jumping on him. Well, as soon as you click on him, as you see, you're going to go into the driver's seat. Your camera is getting it moved out further, and he's going to have little goggles that go down over the eyes. So to go up, you hold the jump button, and then to go down, you simply want to look down and then, you know, hold the forwards button. So as you see, we're driving him downwards. If you press the crouch button, which is what you might think to go down, that is simply going to dismount you and place you in the center. And yes, this guy is actually a platform that you can stand on. It is pretty cool. Now, the flying controls are pretty much what you would expect to go up. You can also just look up and hold forwards. Of course, you can also go backwards really slowly, or, you know, you can churn just by looking to the right or looking to the left. It's very intuitive and exactly what you would expect. Now, the flying speed is also, what you would expect. He's a ghast. He doesn't really go that fast. He certainly goes fast when he's trying to get away from you, though. Jeez. Now, up to 4 players can actually ride on top of the Happy Ghast, and it fills in the seats clockwise. So the seat to my left, and then behind me, and then to my right would get filled in. And when you dismount, the other players are also going to stay in their seats. So, you know, it's totally fine. It's not going to, like, drop them off the ghast or anything like that. So this is actually really useful for building because you can get up high, you know, dismount from the sky, build some platforms or whatever, and then move around to another part of your build or your tower or whatever you're working on. And it's honestly just super convenient. Now, you cannot place any blocks on top of this guy. He's not like a solid block platform. He's just something that you can stand on. So if you're trying to get somewhere with this guy in a hurry, I would highly recommend that you just put a lead on him, jump off of your elytra, and then you'll just kind of like drag him. Don't boost with a rocket because that is going to break your lead, of course. But yeah, as you can see, we can move this guy where we want him a lot faster if we just drag him on along. It's basically a glorified hot air balloon. So the goggles actually go up when no player is driving this guy, but then as soon as someone is driving them, the goggles go down. It's pretty fun. Now, there's no way to breed the Happy Ghast or increase their stats kind of like a horse, so the only way to get them is to simply use the dried ghast hatching mechanics. Now, as you can see, the Happy Ghast doesn't have that much health, only 10 hearts, which is maybe arguably too much, but I think that's about right. So as you can see, a regular non-enchanted bow dealt like, you know, 4.5 hearts of damage to this guy, which is insane. So you can very easily one-shot these guys if you really wanted to. Now, they are going to very slowly and naturally regenerate health over time. As you can see, he just gained half a heart there. Now, if it's raining or snowing, this guy is also going to regenerate health much quicker. As you can see right there, it's actually going up pretty quick. Another neat mechanic of the Happy Ghast is that if you're flying up at the cloud layer, then they also regenerate health much quicker as well. As you can see, those hearts are just going up really quickly. Now, it takes forever to actually fly up here with this guy because he goes vertically very slowly. But you know what? If you live on top of a mountain or something, well, then there you go. So if you dismount the ghast up in the air and then like jump off of it, that guy is going to slowly descend to the ground. As you can see, I left him up there at the clouds and he just came back home. I just can't get rid of this guy. But as you can see, once he gets down to around the ground layer, then he's going to begin roaming again. Now, you should know for science that the Happy Ghast does indeed drown, even though this guy was literally soaked in water for 20 minutes and basically loves water in every way. He just like, it doesn't make sense. Don't think about it too much, but also know for science that also the ghastlings, the baby ghastlings, they drown too. I just thought you should know. And they're not immune to fire either. Just thought you should know. Pretty important fact that these guys are from the nether, and they have absolutely no immunity to anything, and they only have like 10 hearts, so what's even the point of you? Come on, you could at least get a little bit of a buff. Is he gonna? He flew into the lava. Maybe just don't take them to the nether. It just seems like a really bad place for the ghasts. Regular ghasts are completely fire immune, and they love taking a bath in these little lava columns. Like, so clearly inconsistencies. Now, there's no special interactions between regular ghasts and the happy ghasts. They don't like fight each other or try and kill each other or, you know, hug or anything weird like that. So don't worry about that. However, this guy, as you've seen, it does fly directly into lava, and generally he's gonna die pretty quickly. This is not his prime habitat. Just letting you know, you better bring a spare. Now, if you want to get the happy ghast to the end dimension, that way you can completely fly away from the main island straight to the outer end islands, which are only 1,000 blocks away. It might take you an hour to fly out there. This guy's so slow. Now, getting him through the portal might actually be a slight problem just because he's so large. The small ghastling would probably be a lot easier to do. However, of course, you can also just straight up hatch the dried ghast here in the end dimension as well. But of course, that's going to take like 20 minutes. There's also been some huge changes to leash mechanics in this update that are going to be really fun to play with. So now you can make chains of mobs. So if you click on a mob just by right-clicking or whatever, of course, that'll leash it. But now if you sneak interact with a mob, that is going to tie those two mobs together. This guy is now the leader, and that one will follow him. But then we can grab this guy with a lead, and boom, now we have like a little bit of a caravan, as you can see, and there's no limit to how many mobs you can have. So we can now leash this guy to that one. Now we got 3, we can take this guy with us, and now we have like a chain of 3 guys, and you can make as many of them as you want. Now you can also tie all these guys to a singular fence post like that, so they're not going to go anywhere. And if you actually go ahead and interact with that fence post by crouching, then you're going to grab all the leads again and bring the train with you. So you can leave a train somewhere and then pick it back up again, which is really cool. Now, to disconnect these guys from other leads, you can either right-click on them if it's just like the main one that's tied to you, or you can shear them, and that will disconnect all of the leads. So what if you don't want to make a train, you just want to, you know, collect a whole bunch of these guys? Well, as long as you don't sneak while you're interacting with them, then as you can see, all of them are tied to you just as normal. And now we can connect all of these guys to our fence post, as you can see there. And if we want to pick them back up again, we can simply sneak and interact, and boom, now we got all of them, which is really cool. So a little note here, you cannot make a baby the leader of a caravan, for example. So if you click on this guy and then try and attach him together, as you can see, you can't tie an adult to a baby. So if we lead the baby first and then crouch on an adult, as you can see, now we've created a chain. Now these leads are actually really strong now, so if I just fly up into the air, as you can see, this is gonna get very chaotic very quickly. Now, of course, you can do this in survival just by like pillaring up or something, so it's actually a genuinely easy way of moving a ton of mobs. And as you can see, that chain is not actually going to break even if we fly all around and move in circles and stuff. This was inconceivable just a couple of updates ago, but now it is beautiful. And of course, if you like, you know, drop these guys into the ground, well, guess what? Yeah, they're still going to take fall damage. Now this gets even better. So there's been 2 big updates to boats with leads. So first of all, you can put a lead on a boat as per usual, and now you can actually drag it out of the water, which was impossible previously. You would have to like make a little canal and then get it onto dry land. But as you see, now you can just yoink those things right out of the water. And you can also tie boats to one another using the same exact mechanics. And then if you get into the last boat that was leaded, this is actually the control boat. So now we can drag the other 2 along and make boat trains, which is insane. And I love it. And of course, those boats can have up to 2 mobs in them, or you can use chest boats. And overall, it is a great change. If they would just add this feature to minecarts, well then everything would be solved in Minecraft. World peace would be achieved, but alas, not today, gamers. Not today. Another neat thing is that dispensers of shears can also like cut mobs as well, so they can get rid of those leashes. I'm not sure when this would be useful, but it's nice that they thought about it. Now, of course, there's a bunch of large mobs that don't fit inside of boats. For some reasons, they do fit inside of minecarts. Don't think about it too hard. Yet again, just stop thinking. Now, if you want to move these guys around the world, like, you know, sniffers or mules or donkeys or horses or camels, well, you're not really going to be able to get them into a boat, so leading them around is really your only option. But wait, there is a new one. Now, you can actually tie all of these guys to a ghast just by using some leads, as you can see here, and then you can drag those mobs around the world just by flying the happy ghast. Now, the largest of the mobs, the camel and the sniffer, also have a special 4-lead configuration, which even gives it a custom texture as well. So it's like really tight on there. It's honestly pretty fun. And of course, you can tie other mobs to this guy as well. So we could have another sniffer tied to that one right there for a whole train of sniffers. But yeah, as you can see, all the larger mobs that you can't actually fit into a boat can now be attached directly to the ghast. They can also be attached to ghast even when they're not wearing a harness, but that doesn't show the texture. And of course, you can also tie boats to the happy ghast as well with that same 4-lead configuration. And yes, you can have a couple of guys in the boat. So now moving villagers just got so much easier. So as you can see, we can actually fly around with this guy and drag those villagers along in the boat, which is pretty fun. Now, what's even better about this is that if you dismount this guy, those guys are still down there kind of hanging about. You can't really see them, but they are down there. If we use some shears on this, that is going to disconnect those leads. And now you can airdrop mobs anywhere you want, and mobs inside of boats don't actually take fall damage. So any mob that can get into a boat, you can airdrop on somebody. So what you want to do is you want to get a lineup of boats just like this. You want to lead them from back to front, and then you want to lure some hostile mobs into all of these boats. If you have an empty boat in the front, this will be a lot easier, but now you can put a lead on that boat. You can lure over your happy ghast with the snowball, excuse me, sir. And then you can tie all those boats to the happy ghast and lift these guys up into the air. As you can see there, we are getting a full train of creeper boats. And now you can airdrop these absolutely anywhere you want. It is magnificent. And by the way, the happy ghast unrenders if it gets too far away from you, so you can very easily sneak up on some people. They won't even see you if they're like on the ground. Then you shear your happy ghast and boom, dozens of boats full of creepers fall down. Looks like it was having some physics issues, but that's fine. And now we have same day creeper delivery right to someone's doorstep. Amazing. And then if you walk up to these guys, it's just a good old time. And there's been one last final update to the leads and to the chaos to help you with your shenanigans. The crafting recipe has been changed. They no longer require a slime ball. It is simply 5 pieces of string to 2 leads. So now you can get these a lot earlier in your Minecraft world, and I feel like you're going to be wanting a lot of leads. Now, because the happy ghast can go into minecarts and it has a solid block roof on the top of it, you can actually use that for parkour and other things like that. It's actually pretty fun. There's a lot of minigame potential. And of course, when it has a harness on it, you can also ride it around in a minecart as well to make trains. And that means that you can have 4 players on this while it's in a minecart, which is super fun. And of course, you can send the ghast like up or down using bubble columns or elevators or whatever the case may be. Anything that you can do to a minecart, you can basically do with the happy ghast, which is great. Of course, you can also tie multiple happy ghasts together to have an entire train of these guys for easily moving a bunch of them around the world. Now, there used to be a little bit of a meta where you could like connect a ghast and drag it behind you as you're riding a happy ghast. However, they actually made like the leash distance longer for the happy ghast, which kind of ruined my entire trick. But basically, you could make that one behind us nudge into us and boost our speed by like 2 or 3 times. You can see we got like a little bit of a nudge there, but it like barely happens now because it's just so far away. I've tried a bunch of like different methods to have mobs nudge us and actually boost us forwards, because in theory it would give you a lot more speed, but I can't find a good way to get that to happen. So if you find a method for boosting these guys with mob nudging, let me know. And that's basically everything new in the Chase the Skies update. If you enjoy this video, then of course drop a like, share it around, and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.